and then discovered that a little further back up where the Shelby Street water runs in to the ditch, then turns and comes toward the river. It's got some problems up there with that too. This project was put in somewhere 2098, and I think we finished it up 2000, 2001, somewhere like that. But got some problems over there. So Mr. Jarvis has been working on that, and he went over a few months ago and did some work on this, but did not realize what had happened down below there. He was looking from up on the bank, but until they got in the river and saw what's there, pretty serious stuff. Councilman Washington, I called him. He met over there with him this morning. So y'all give us where we are, what we need to do.
Okay, this morning I went over there and met with Councilman Washington and Lynn and several people over there. When I look at it, it's, I guess you can look at your pictures. I may be talking a little bit technical, but what it has is riprap that has been what we call slurried in. It's got riprap on it, and then it's got concrete's been poured into riprap to hold everything together. The riprap and the concrete that's on top of the dike has cracked. When it cracked, it let water go in the top of the dike, caused the lower side to settle, and that caused a joint in those PVC pipes to break apart. When it broke apart, then it washed the end joint off on two of the pipes. I think it was two. And that was on the, it's got two sets of pipes. It's got 6 on the bottom, 5 or 6 on the bottom? 5 on the bottom, 6 on the bottom. 5 on the bottom and 6 on the top. The 5 on the bottom are 24-inch PVC, what we call ABS pipes. They're corrugated plastic wall pipes. And they're 20 feet long, so there's 2 of them that are joined together. And they're bonded together with a chemical joint, which makes it more than just gluing it together. Well, when it settled, it cracked that joint. Then when the water got out in it, that's what broke the pipe off, and the 2 joints that you see laying out, that's how they got there. The solution that I'm thinking of, and I haven't really settled on, but this is the way I think we can save this without having to reconstruct the entire dike, is to take off the part of the dike that is broken on the lower side. Take that off. Now it's chunks of concrete and riprap. So what we want to do is peel that off, dump that down below the pipes, and let that act as a splash pad to where it's just like riprap. It just breaks the flow of the water and keeps it from washing the bank and anything into the river. Then we try to straighten up the PVC pipes as much as we can. Come back on the upper side. And this is just on the upper 6 pipes only, and they're 30 inches in diameter. Push a 28-inch diameter steel encasement pipe through both of the PVC pipes, and then we weld those joints at the seams. In other words, they're 20 feet, they'll be 18 or 20 feet. And push those through on the upper 6 pipes. Now that's a big, and there'll be a 1/4-inch steel pipe. Then we've still got to put the riprap back in on the lower side, slurry it in, come back with the riprap that we've taken off the top, put the riprap back and slurry it in, and then slurry the entire top where you don't have a seam up there to where water could seep in again. Then it would be a continuous concrete slope on top. I mean, when I say slope, it'd be just flat across, just like a dike, just like a dam. And it would be concrete on top and not let any water in. So that's what I'm thinking about right now. I don't really have an estimate on it, but I would imagine it's going to be somewhere in the $40,000 to $80,000 range for those 6 pipes and to fix that problem.
Can all of this be worked from up above, or are you going to have to work any of this from the river level?
No, it can all be worked from the top. Because everything would be pushed through from the not the riverside, be pushed through toward the river. All the pipes would be pushed through toward the river.
And this is correct in the Shelby Street, the Shelby entrance of that water also?
I don't know,
Did y'all even look at that?
I haven't looked at it.
We looked at this morning, we usually look at the other.
Is that
That's
the
on
head
the-
wall that's what?
Yeah.
I did see that. We need, what, if it's the same one I looked at, then what we need to do there is that we need to put some more riprap in and slurry, all that. What that is there needs to be a toe wall added at the bottom, at the end of that pipe. Put a 2-foot deep toe wall in at the end of the pipe, and that keeps that water from coming off the pipe and wrapping up, back up around under the pipe. Always put a toe wall in at the end of those pipes, and that prevents that. Well, what we need to do now is put riprap in it, put slurry up in under the pipe where it's exposed, and then riprap and slurry all around that head wall. And that'll stop that problem.
Okay.
Do that while we're out there.
Is there any Corps of engineers interest in this? Is there any FEMA interest in this, that finding funding and doing this?
No, I don't know. You're asking, I couldn't tell you that. Yeah, I have no idea. Now,
Is it
as
a
far as the
preventative?
Corps, I don't think within the limits of the Corps, other than we don't have any water discharging directly into the river as far as the water pouring into, I mean, it's going into the river, but it's not a direct discharge into to their easement line, is what I'm trying to say. But I think, I'd rather be safe than sorry. I sure don't want them coming out here and shutting us down, so I sure don't mind calling them, getting them involved.
Okay. Tex, FEMA.
We can make some phone calls and present them with a problem and see where they direct us and what we can do. I would consider it an emergency situation as far as they would be concerned. How they'll label it is what determines where we can go in. So we just have to start the process.
Now, the property that has actually washed, that's caving in and undermining back there, is that still FEMA property lines, or is that into your property?
Best I can tell, it's in the mine. But a lot of it is core on the outside.
Core on the outside? So the next step is to start making phone calls and seeing where we are. And of course, there was a design, and evidently it was put into a design back in late
98.
80s.
Or, well, whenever, 98, around 2000, 98.
Okay. Anyone have any questions on this?
Here on those 6, 8, how many pipes, 11?
There's, there's 5, I think, on the bottom and 6 on the top.
So what's to keep that water from rolling in underneath and undermining? I mean,
You talking about on the riverside? Because there's riprap there, and that's why the pipe are extended out. They're extended out past the bank, and that's to keep that water from wrapping up, just like we're talking about. Keep it from coming back up under the pipe and eroding that area. It's not a problem. I mean, I'm not saying it's not a problem. It has washed there, but the problem is because it cracked on top and let that water go in on top. Then everything settled and the pipe started bending and broke that joint.
Is that where it's cracked on top?
yes.
That's it.
But all of
See,
that
where the
which,
grass is growing, that's part of it.
all of that which is eroded out right here, how do you come back and remediate
So
that?
what we'll do, we'll dump the riprap back in there. Now, there's some riprap there, but you can see the
Yes.
cloth's been exposed. That's because the pipe is broken and that water is coming, instead of going out the end, it's going out like halfway through the pipe. So that's what's washing that out.
I mean, Frank Bergarelli don't want you to know, but there's usually a 3-pound spotted bass right off.